Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're plunging into a world that's undergoing a quiet yet pretty profound transformation. It's all driven by artificial intelligence. And we're talking about podcasts, yes, the very thing you're listening to right now.
Right.
We've gathered, quite a fascinating stack of sources, actually. They outline how machine learning is revolutionizing, pretty much every corner of the podcast universe.
From creation to consumption.
Exactly. How shows get made, how they land in your ears. So our mission today is to kind of extract the most important bits, the key knowledge from all this material.
Giving you that shortcut to understanding what's happening at the cutting edge of audio.
Perfect.
And it's truly a remarkable shift, isn't it? Our sources dig into these intricate ways. ML isn't just tweaking things.
Not just optimizing.
No, it's fundamentally reshaping the whole landscape, how podcasts are made,
Right.
how you find them, how you listen. So we'll be connecting the dots on these innovations today, helping you understand not just what's happening, but crucially, why it matters.
For creators, platforms.
And especially for you, the listener.
Yeah.
So, let's unpack this.
Okay, where do we start? Let's kick off with something that honestly sounds a bit like science fiction, but it's real. The rise of AI as a creator. I mean, imagine a podcast completely automated, hosted by an AI.
Yeah, our sources show this isn't just a concept. It's happening.
Like Google's own deep dive, and yes, we appreciate the irony there.
Right. Generated using tools like Notebook LM.
And the surprising thing, maybe, they aren't just robotic voices reading a script.
No, not at all. These AI-hosted shows, they're designed to be conversational, often short, maybe 10-minute episodes.
Trying for that human-like speech and engaging structure.
Exactly. And the benefit isn't just, speed. It kind of democratizes content creation.
Yeah.
Well, think about hyper-niche topics. Stuff that might never find a human host or audience big enough to justify production. Now, AI can potentially create that content.
Interesting. It changes what's possible in audio.
Fundamentally.
But, okay, it can't be perfect, right? Like
Yeah.
any new tech, there must be growing pains.
Oh, absolutely. The sources definitely point out issues, things like mispronunciations or even factual errors sometimes.
Okay, that's a problem.
And maybe more fundamentally, they lack that spontaneous human element, the emotional nuance we connect with.
Right, the spark. So, no AI stand-up comedians taking over soon.
Probably safe for now.
Good to know. Okay, so once these podcasts exist, AI-made or human-made, how do we find them in this huge ocean of audio?
Well, that's the next big area, AI-driven discovery. Think machine-generated transcripts and topic tagging.
Right. Platforms like Apple Podcasts are using things like automatic speech recognition, ASR.
ASR, yeah, and natural language processing, NLP. These two work together.
So how does that actually help me, the listener, find something?
Okay, so basically, these technologies listen to the whole episode. They automatically create a transcript.
The text version of the audio.
Exactly. Then, using that transcript, the AI figures out what the episode is about and auto-tags the topics.
Even if the creator didn't explicitly list those topics in the description.
Precisely. So you're not just relying on the title or the show notes anymore.
Wow, okay. So the actual content becomes searchable, even specific details mentioned inside the episode.
You got it. The whole audio library essentially becomes this massive searchable database.
That's huge for discoverability. Finding niche stuff must be way easier.
It really improves relevance. You can find exactly what you're looking for with much greater precision. No more just guessing based on keywords.
Gets you to the good stuff faster. I like it.
Makes the whole experience better.
Okay, so that helps us find things. What about things finding us? Let's talk recommendations, the art of suggestion.
Yes, the recommendation systems. Spotify's a big player here, obviously. They use pretty sophisticated machine learning.
And our sources mention something called TF-IDF.
Right, TF-IDF, content-based filtering. It sounds technical, but think of it like this.
Okay.
It's a smart way for the machine to figure out which words are really important in a podcast's transcript. Not just common words like they or and, but the key terms.
Gotcha. The meaningful words.
Exactly. Then it compares those important words to your listening history. What topics have you listened to before?
And based on that match, it suggests new stuff.
Precisely. It allows them to suggest, say, educational podcasts tailored very specifically to what you've shown interest in.
And the sources gave some numbers on how good it is.
They did. Research showed pretty impressive precision rates between 0.52 and 0.74.
So up to 74% of the time, the recommendation is relevant. That's not bad.
Not bad at all. And recall rates were also strong, 0.51 to 0.79, meaning it's good at finding most of the relevant stuff for you.
And it gets smarter than just matching topics, right? Something about long-term engagement.
Yes, exactly. This is really interesting. They're using reinforcement learning, which means the system isn't just trying to get you to click on one recommendation now. It's learning what keeps you listening over time.
Ah, so it optimizes for keeping you engaged with the platform long-term.
Right. And the sources say this approach actually outperforms the simpler, short-term recommendation methods.
So it's learning your tastes, maybe even better than you know them yourself sometimes.
It certainly aims to, building that sustained relationship between you and the content.
Makes sense. Okay, so if they know what we like, can they also predict what everyone will like? Predicting popularity.
That's another fascinating area. Yes, studies are using really advanced models for this. Things like BERT embeddings.
BERT, okay, heard of that.
Combined with algorithms like SVM, random forest, XGBoost. These are all different ways machines learn patterns.
Sophisticated pattern detectives, basically. And what are they analyzing?
Get this. Sometimes just the podcast's title and description text. Very minimal information.
Wait, really? Can you actually predict if a show will be a hit just from the title and description?
Well, the results are surprisingly good. One algorithm, SVM, hit around 70.9% accuracy in recall.
7 out of 10 times, roughly, it could correctly predict popularity just from that text.
Yeah. And another one, XGBoost, got the best balance, the best F1 score, around 0.648, which, in simple terms, means it's pretty reliable.
That's impressive for such little input.
It is. The takeaway seems to be that even minimal text features can give you a decent prediction, though obviously the sources note that richer data, like the full transcripts we talked about, would likely make it even better.
Makes sense. More data, better predictions.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. ML isn't just about the content and finding it, it's also improving the sound, right?
Absolutely. Audio processing and source separation. This is about making the listening experience cleaner.
How does that work?
Deep learning models are being trained on specific data sets. There's one called podcast mix.
Podcast mix, okay.
It's basically audio design with mixed speech and background music, maybe sound effects. The AI learns to untangle them.
To separate the voices from everything else. Exactly. Separating speech from background music is a key goal.
So you can hear the hosts more clearly, even if the original recording wasn't perfect.
That's the idea. It's still a challenge, especially making it work well across all kinds of different audio environments, Generalization is tricky.
Right, different mics, different rooms, different music styles.
All that. But the sources mention current systems can achieve speech separation quality scores around 3.8 out of 5. So progress is definitely being made.
Getting better. That could be huge for listening quality.
Definitely.
Now, what about the hosts themselves? Does how someone speaks influence whether we stay tuned in? The engagement equation.
Ah, yes. Host style and listener interaction. ML models are looking at this too.
What are they analyzing?
Two main things. Paralinguistic cues.
Meaning?
Things beyond the words, like tone of voice, the pace of speaking, pitch variations.
Okay, the music of the speech.
Kind of, yeah. And also linguistic features the actual words and phrases being used.
And what are they finding? What makes us engage?
Well, one really fascinating finding highlighted in the sources is that gender-specific voice characteristics, when analyzed across different segments of a podcast, significantly improve the model's ability to predict audience engagement.
Wow. So certain vocal qualities, maybe tied to gender perception, resonate differently?
It seems so. The models are picking up on patterns suggesting that how something is said, including these kinds of voice characteristics, matters quite a bit for keeping listeners hooked. Not just what is said.
That is fascinating. Lots to unpack there ethically, too, maybe.
Potentially, yes. It raises questions.
Okay, so we've seen AI creating, AI helping discovery, AI improving sound, AI analyzing engagement. What's the final frontier here?
Well, perhaps the ultimate is putting it all together. End-to-end personalized podcast creation.
A whole pipeline.
Exactly. A recent study by Olav Segba-Mercy, mentioned as Feb 2025, demonstrated a full pipeline like this. It starts with ASR, like we talked about, to get the text.
Right.
Then uses AI for content summarization, figures out the key points. Then uses speech synthesis, text-to-speech, to create the audio.
Wow.
And crucially, the whole process is tuned using listener behavior data. What does this specific listener seem to like?
So it creates a podcast just for you, essentially, based on your data.
That's the potential, yes.
Yeah.
Highly personalized audio experiences. And the study found listeners actually responded positively to these generated personalized podcasts.
Incredible. Suggests ML really can support that kind of tailored experience.
It seems capable, yeah.
So let's pull back. What does this all really mean? We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. I mean, the big picture is that machine learning is truly revolutionizing the podcast world across the board.
Yeah, you see it everywhere now.
For creators, you've got these powerful tools. More efficient production, auto-tagging saves time, maybe even AI co-hosts or fully AI shows.
All right. And for the platforms?
Smarter discovery, better recommendations, predicting what's going to be popular, maybe helps them decide what to promote.
And for you listening right now?
Well, the promise is richer, much more personalized experiences, clearer audio, thanks to source separation, and content that's incredibly relevant to your interests.
But there's always a but with powerful tech. Challenges remain, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We touched on some.
Yeah.
Transcription errors can still happen.
Yeah.
AI-generated content, well, it still lacks that genuine emotional depth, that human connection.
True.
And the technical challenge of generalization, making these ML models work reliably well in all the diverse, messy, real-world audio situations, that's ongoing work.
And maybe ethical considerations too. Transparency, especially if a host is AI.
That's a big one. Ensuring transparency is critical.
So it really leaves us, and you, the listener, with something to think about.
As podcasts become more and more personalized, maybe even AI-generated, how does your relationship with this medium, with the content, with the hosts, how does that evolve?
Yeah, what new possibilities open up, but also what new considerations, maybe even concerns, emerge in this brave new world of audio?
Definitely something to